It's 2 in the afternoon. You're staring at your screen, and your eyelids suddenly weigh 1,000 pounds. Your body is begging for a nap, but the guilt sets in. You push through it, pour another coffee, and get back to work. We are going to look at why the physical structure of your brain naturally shrinks over time, how recent genetic data suggests that sleeping in the middle of the day can slow this decline, and finally, a daily protocol to put these findings into practice. To understand the stakes, we have to look at this line graph tracking brain volume. This maps out a harsh biological reality. Right around age 35, the human brain begins to atrophy, losing about 0.2% of its total mass every single year. Keep following the line and the loss accelerates. Once you cross the 60-year mark, that rate of shrinkage more than doubles to 0.5% annually. The physical hardware of your mind is slowly eroding. Physical aging actively reduces the brain's structural foundation. It is a biological problem, and it requires a targeted intervention to slow it down. For decades, the scientific consensus frequently advised against daytime sleeping. Researchers pointed to large observational studies showing that people who napped frequently actually had smaller brains and poorer cognitive health. But those old studies were limited by sickness confounding. When you only look at behavior, it is difficult to tell if napping causes the brain to shrink, or if people with shrinking brains and failing health simply feel the need to nap more often. In reality, underlying health conditions like diabetes and cardiovascular disease were the hidden variables. Those illnesses were driving both the neurological decline and the exhaustion that sent people to the couch every afternoon. To find the actual physical impact of napping, researchers needed to look past human behavior. They had to find a way to isolate the act of sleeping from these overlapping illnesses. A team of scientists turned to the UK Biobank, a dataset containing the genetic and health information of 500,000 people. They moved away from observational data and decided to look at human DNA. They used a technique called Mendelian randomization. This method uses the genetic lottery you were born with to identify cause and effect relationships, helping to isolate the data from lifestyle choices or current health status. Looking at this conceptual DNA strand, researchers pinpointed 92 specific structural nodes that dictate a natural predisposition to nap. Because baseline DNA isn't altered by heart disease or lifestyle factors, studying these genes isolates the true physical effects of daytime sleep. By using genetics as an unchangeable baseline, researchers established a way to observe how napping influences brain health without the interference of underlying sickness. This diagram illustrates the primary finding. A genetic predisposition to napping is linked to a measurable increase in total brain volume, specifically 15.80 cubic centimeters. Translating that volume into a timeline, this extra mass equates to reversing physical brain aging by 2.6 to 6.5 years. The researchers also noted that napping did not change everything. When they tested immediate reaction times and visual memory recall, the TNETIP nappers showed no measurable improvements over the control group. While napping may not provide a shortcut to immediate mental performance, the data suggests it functions as a foundational, long-term structural shield against physical neurodegeneration. That heavy midday crash is a biological signal, and answering it with rest is a proactive strategy for maintaining your brain's physical hardware. You can implement this into your daily routine starting tomorrow, but there is a specific way to balance this neurological protection with your need to stay productive. While the genetic study didn't track specific nap lengths, wider sleep research points to a precise window of 5 to 15 minutes. This duration is long enough to provide these structural benefits without inducing the heavy grogginess or sleep inertia that occurs when you wake up from a deep sleep cycle. To recap the science, habitual daytime napping is causally linked to larger total brain volume, preserving the physical mass of your mind and saving up to 6.5 years of structural aging. The genetic data addresses the flaws in older observational data, showing that naps can actively defend against neurodegeneration rather than being a mere symptom of decline. For your action plan, set an alarm for early afternoon, drop the guilt associated with resting, and take a brief power nap. If you struggle with poor sleep quality at night, compensating with deliberate daytime rest is a scientifically sound way to help protect your mind as you age.